Welcome to City Municipal Council meeting for October 6th, 2020. I need to read this to begin with. A public notice was given that this meeting will occur electronically without an anchor location in accordance with Utah Code 52-4-2074 due to infectious disease COVID-19 novel coronavirus. The council chair has determined that conducting a meeting with an anchor location presents substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at the anchor location because physical distancing measures may be difficult to maintain in the Murray City Council chambers. Okay, let's get started. The public may view the meeting via the live stream at www.murraycitylive.com or www.facebook.com/MurrayCityUtah/. Okay, let's see, I guess I already welcomed everybody. So all council members are present, and so we'll continue on with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have asked Assistant Chief Joey Middleman to perform the pledge. Joey?
All right, here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Joey. I really appreciate it. You always do such a great job. Okay, we'll continue on with the approval of minutes for the council meeting held on September 15th, 2020. Are there any changes or questions from the council? If there are none, I would appreciate a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the minutes for September 15th.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Jennifer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Held?
Aye.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye. Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, it passes. Now we'll go to the special recognition portion of the council meeting, and that is to consider a joint resolution of the mayor and municipal council of Murray City, Utah, to designate and support the week of October 4th through 10th, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week. Mayor Camp and Assistant Chief Joey Middleman presenting. Mayor?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to read the resolution first and then turn some time over to Chief Middleman. This is a joint resolution of the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah to designate and support the week of October 4th through 10th, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week. Whereas Murray City is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those in the city and acknowledge that fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the location where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas fire departments in the United States respond to an average of 354,000 home fires per year, resulting in 2,620 deaths. We encourage Murray residents to review cooking safety, as 49% of home fires start in the kitchen, and also identify all places in the home where fires can start and eliminate those hazards. And whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in a home fire by 60%, Murray residents should install smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area, on every level of the home, and ensure all batteries are functional. And whereas the Murray City Fire Department is dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and resulting injuries through prevention and education, and the 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, effectively serves to remind us to stay alert and use caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Therefore, we do proclaim October 4th through 10th, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week throughout Murray City, and urge all residents to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices, and to support the public safety activities of the Murray City Fire Department during Fire Prevention Week 2020. And if passed, this will be passed, approved, and adopted by the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, this 6th day of October 2020. Would the council like to take action before we turn the time over to Chief Middleman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would appreciate a motion from the
I'll make
council.
a motion to approve a joint resolution of the Mayor and Municipal Council of Murray City, Utah, to designate and support the week of October 4th through 10th, 2020 as Fire Prevention Week.
Can I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Rosalba. Okay, Jennifer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hells,
Aye.
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, Joey, would you like to speak to this? And thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Councilman Turner. I wanted to just take the chance and just let both the council, the mayor's office, all the city workers, and especially our citizens know how excited our fire department is for the Fire Prevention Week. You'll see this banner behind me here with Sparky out flying in front of Station 81 this next few days, and then we're going to move it to a new fire station. So those of you guys that are watching and maybe looking for something to do in these COVID times, I would love for you guys to drive around. It'll always be at a fire station. You just have to figure out which fire station it is. So let's cut to some of the fun stuff that it is. This year is Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. So we want to reach out, as we always do, to our second grade classes. The problem is with our COVID restrictions, we just can't go in and do an assembly, which I'm totally bummed at. It's one of the few times that we really get to engage with the kids in our fire turnouts, and we make sure they're clean and we have a great time. However, with this, we have made a video that your kids out there, if you're listening, and you should be able to watch that video. We're also doing social media posts. And so if you're looking for maybe Monday, Tuesday, or any day that ends in Y for an activity, follow us on Facebook, and we will have a video of fire escape plans are on there right now, and you'll have a new one tomorrow. The other items that I wanted to kind of point out that normally I would have handed you guys out something is some pencils and some erasers. There'll be links on our site. And that's what I'm excited about forwarding this year. It's not every year that I have enough time to do a lot of social media stuff and electronic stuff for our community. So this should be a really good start for continued efforts for electronic documents on our webpage, as well as our social media outlets. My last call out is for businesses that might be listening in. Now would be a great time to check your sprinkler systems, make sure they're up to date. And my final reminder for parents would be smoke detectors, exit plans, and obviously check out that kitchen and try and avoid. It's like the mayor said, over 40%, our number one fire is started in the kitchen. So with that being said, I think I've taken enough time, and Thank you very much, both council, mayor, and residents. And we love you guys. And we're reaching out, watching out for you at the fire station.
Thank you, Joey. You're awesome. Are there any comments from the council?
Just a big thanks to Joey and everyone else. And like Joey said, we love you back.
Joey, on the social media posts, are those your kids?
Yeah, when it comes down to legal stuff, they're probably the easiest one. I talked to the boss and she just shakes her head.
They're so adorable. I love it.
So if any of you guys have kids, I always get nervous. You know, GL would say, yeah, it's safer if you just keep being nervous, Joey.
Well, I'm sure Eva would love it, FYI. So, But anytime. Thank you so much for all you guys do.
I'll put Kevin on it too.
There you go. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you too. And it really, I think it's amazing that it really works. Those kiddos come home from those second grade assemblies and they tell their parents to check their, their alarms. And it really, really does a ton for our whole community safety. So just thank you. And I'll have a second grader next year. So fingers crossed that we can all be back in the classrooms and assemblies again.
Yep, right on.
That's true. Thanks so much, Joey.
I just want to thank Murray Fire for everything they do, not just fires, but paramedics, ambulances, everything. They keep us healthy and keep us safe, especially during these trying times.
Thanks, Council. And thanks, Joey. Obviously, we all love you and really appreciate you. So take care. All right, now we'll continue on the agenda to citizens' comments. And so I have a statement for that as well. So citizen comments or a public hearing, which we're going to have in just after this, comments may be made as follows. One is live through the Zoom meeting process. Those wishing to speak during these portions of the meeting must send a request to city.council@murray.utah.gov by 3 p.m. on the meeting date. And if you do that, you will receive a confirmation email with instructions and a Zoom link to join the meeting. The second way to participate is to have your comments read into the record by sending an email in advance or during the meeting to city.council@murray.utah.gov. Comments are limited to less than 3 minutes, and please include your name and contact information. Jan, do we have citizen comments? Do we have any comments at this time?
Yes, we do. We have 3 comments, and the first of those is going to be a live comment from Rusty Cannon. He's speaking for a group, and so we've allowed him 5 minutes. Go ahead, Rusty.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Welcome.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate the time that the council's allowed us to say a few words. Just first of all, we feel you're in great hands with your power manager. We heard a great presentation. I think it was your last meeting from Blaine. Probably one of the better, more comprehensive presentations we've seen given to a city council on UAM's SMR project that we've been, voicing some concerns over. So you're in good hands there. We just wanted to reiterate just a few comments that we had said to a few of you before. Because of the October 30th deadline that we're aware of that's coming up. As you might be aware, 3 cities have now withdrawn: Logan, Lehigh, and Catesville. And many of the concerns that we've had have been reflected in the discussion by those city council members as they've taken that vote and exited. And I just wanted to review a couple of those. We've expressed our thought before that we don't believe that this is a financial risk that municipal power companies should be taking and it should be left to the private market to seek out whether small modular reactor power is going to work in an economical sense. So the best case scenario for participating cities, in our view, is that someday around 2029, under the current schedule, or 2030, you get market rate power. The worst case scenario is that you make the commitment at the next 3 or 4 off ramps of 19.9 million, 658 million, and then 4.7 billion in the construction phase that could leave ratepayers and taxpayers of these municipalities holding the bag. So Murray's experience with Utopia is a prime example of how this kind of project can eventually drain badly needed tax revenue from city budgets. As you probably already know, after Utopia's initial pledge that sales taxes would never be called upon from city budgets, now, since 2008, Murray's annual contribution
Rusty,
1.8 million and growing each year. Well,
Rusty, you just cut out. Sorry.
yes, can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Rusty, would you restate that, what you
Sure.
just said?
Sure. After Utopia's initial pledge that sales taxes would never be called upon from city budgets, Murray's annual contributions to Utopia are now approximately 1.8 million per year and growing at 2%, while Utopia's balance sheet continues to deteriorate and now has a negative net worth of over 200 million, as you probably know. Third, the subscription levels that we talked about before have been a key indicator of the project's appeal. That's been stagnant at 30% for well over a year. And now with those 3 cities withdrawing, that is going to go lower. And for those cities, at least our understanding of the deal is for those cities that stay in the project, your costs will now go up by that relative 16% as you stay in, if you do stay in. So we do urge cities that are still in the project to take a vote and withdraw from the project before the October 30th deadline, just like Logan, Lehigh, and Kaysville did on a unanimous vote in each of their meetings. And last of all, we just want to make the disclaimer. We don't take a position on nuclear power. We're not opposed to that. Our concerns revolve around the finances with this project and similar projects around the country that have not gone too well. But thank you for letting us comment tonight. And although this isn't the format to do it, if you do have questions, we'd love for you to reach out to us at our office anytime.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. Okay, Jan? I can't.
Okay.
Jan?
The second one is from Lance Barton, and he is a Murray City resident. I would like to voice my concerns against the UAMPS SMR project. I don't agree that this is a safe, appropriate, or cost-effective solution for Murray Power. I am grateful for the efforts made by Murray City to keep our energy costs low, and hopefully this will continue to be the case. But this UAMPS SMR project does not seem to be the answer. Thanks for everything the City Council does for Murray. And the third one is from Beverly Krangle, who is also a Murray City resident. The language has changed. When health issues have required emergency notices to the public, the word death has been used. Authorities convince the public to take precautionary measures by noting the number of deaths expected from a specific cause. The 2020 pandemic began with the usual language, but switched the word deaths to cases. No detail is given about the severity of findings or the viral load from tests. The CDC reports show that at least 94% of deaths occurred in the elderly, having an average of 2.6 comorbidity conditions, i.e. diabetes, cancer, obesity. The orchestrated media messaging and extended government intrusion into commerce and private lives have done more damage than any disease alone would do. The increased rates of suicide, divorce, drug and alcohol abuse, child abuse, crimes, etc., have greatly diminished our communities. The continued isolation of many and loss of jobs, homes, and school activities will continue to cripple the lives of our citizens. Since tests detect the corona microbes associated with the common cold, using only the measure of positive tests to determine human activity needs to cease. Please consider the above information and the unseen and non-obvious negative consequences of continuing the current Murray City policies. Thank you, and that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Jan. I appreciate that. We'll continue on, and now we're to our public hearing phase. The same procedures go for the public hearing as well, and we'll start the first one with consider an ordinance amending the city's fiscal year 2020-21 budget. Brenda Moore presenting. Brenda.
Good evening. So before you, we're going to have a public hearing on an ordinance to accept and receive and appropriate $1,456,622.43 from the county, who is passing additional CARES money down to the city that they receive from the federal government. The plan for the CARES money is to use it for continuing costs due to the CARES pandemic, and amongst various funds within the city. So that is the budget ordinance that we are having a public hearing on, is the receipt and appropriate the $1.4 million from the county. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, we'll continue on with the hearing. So I will open the public hearing. Do we have any public comments?
No, I don't have any for this public hearing.
Okay, great. Okay, I will close the public hearing and send it to the council for further discussion and a motion. Any questions for Brenda?
If there are no questions, I will make a motion. Is that okay, Diane?
Perfect, thank you.
And as Diane always says, and of course everyone says, thanks for the information you gave us for Committee of the Whole regarding this topic. And Brenda, thanks for all you do. Okay, I will move that we approve an ordinance amending the city's fiscal year 2020 and 2021 budget.
Do we
I'll
have
second.
Okay, great. Is there discussion on the motion? Jennifer, would you take the roll, please?
Mr. House,
Aye.
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, now we are at our second public hearing, and that is to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 17.65 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to beekeeping standards. Melinda Greenwood is presenting. Melinda?
Hey, let me just, see if we can get this. Great. Okay, can you all see the presentation? Excellent, thank you. All right, so tonight oh dear, I'm on the wrong slide. There we go. We are here to discuss section 17.65 beekeeping standards. And we have made several changes to the ordinance, which was last adopted and amended in 2016. Essentially, we can put those changes into three categories. The first category is that we are shifting regulatory and compliance responsibility to the Utah State and Salt Lake County Health Department. I guess I should clarify, that's Utah State Department of Agriculture that has a division of beekeeping and apiary, and then Salt Lake County also has an apiarist on staff. So the second category is that we would no longer have hives required to be licensed through Murray City, and that would be required through the state and the county. And then the last change is that we are proposing that all properties that have a single family residence located on the property be eligible to have bees. Just a little bit of background real quickly. Utah State has a Bee Inspection Act that's codified and requires that any person who has bees register with the state. They have to have their location for their beehives identified with a signage. There's a county bee inspector for every county in the state, and they conduct an annual inspection of hives. And if upon that inspection, the apiarist determines that there's any diseased or parasited beehives, they can prescribe a course of treatment for those hives. And then if the owner of those hives either disagrees or isn't satisfied with the decision of the apiarist, they have an ability to appeal that at their own expense, appeal that decision with the state. And then lastly, another highlight is just a beekeeper may not intentionally maintain an aggressive or unmanageable bee colony. Salt Lake County also has regulations, and listed several of those here. It's unlawful for a person to maintain or locate a beehive on any property that threatens the public health or safety. A hive shall not be placed on property so the general flight pattern of bees is in a direction that will deter bees, excuse me, I misspoke. A hive shall be placed on property so that the bee path will be deterred from direct contact with humans. A hive will also be supplied with adequate water from March through the end of October every year. And yeah.
Are you supposed to have more than one slide being shown?
Oh dear, am I having that same problem last time?
Yeah, we're still at Planning Commission.
Oh, okay. Let me, oops. Okay, let me stop the share and try again. I'm sorry about that. I had the same problem last time too. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, what do you see now? Is it the Salt Lake County slides?
It's the Planning Commission, and then I can see slides, but they're not on the screen.
Okay, all right, I think I got it this time. All right, how about now?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that.
Thanks, Melinda.
Okay, so here I did already go through the Utah State Bee Inspection Act, some of those requirements, and then the county has some similar requirements. My apologies to everyone for that. So one of the changes that we're proposing, or part of the ordinance, is that we will allow different amounts of hives per lot size. So any lot that is between 4,000 to 8,000 square feet would not be allowed more than 2 hives. 9,000 to 10,000 square feet, 3 hives. 10,000 to 11,000 would be allowed 4 hives. 11,000 square feet, 5 hives. And anything more than 12,000 square feet would be allowed 6 hives, but that would be the max allowed. I did want to go over a couple other items, but I understand we have received a public comment, which Jan will read into the record, but it was a question about lot size. And the current ordinance states that the lot size, a minimum lot size to have bees would be at 6,000 square feet, and we're recommending 4,000 square feet. Part of that is to be consistent with some of the other cities out there. Draper City allows hives on lots that are 4,000 square feet. South Salt Lake allows them on lots that are 4,500 square feet. So anything less than 6,000 square feet would generally be in the R16 zone. And the minimum lot size requirement in the zones is 6,000 square feet. But we do have some areas within the city that have lot sizes that are smaller than that. A good example is over on Box Elder Street. And there are a few lot sizes over there that are a little bit smaller than the 6,000 square feet. And so we moved that to 4,000 square feet so that it wouldn't be a situation where one neighbor would be allowed to have bees, but someone right next door would not be allowed to have bees. We did run that past the county and the state, and they both were comfortable with that size of lot. So just a couple other things to point out. When this was passed in 2016, my understanding is that those folks who wanted to have bees were pretty unhappy with the results, because what is on the books currently essentially makes it impossible for residents to have bees legally. It requires insurance, which is pretty much impossible to get. It requires registration with the city. It requires training. And it also requires a waiver and a release of liability to be signed for the city. There's no other ordinances that we have found, all of the cities in Salt Lake County, that would have a requirement such as that. And in the end, the main premise of this proposal is that as city staff, we have our expertise in planning and land use, but we don't have any expertise in bees and beehives and beekeeping. And so we felt like the best method to go here with is to shift that responsibility to those who have that expertise and allow the opportunity for residents to be able to have the hives. So that essentially is the direction that we have come forward with this ordinance to you this evening. And again, we've been in, and by we, I mean Susan Nixon, our associate planner who's done most of the research on this, has been in contact with the Salt Lake County and with the state, and they've reviewed the ordinance as we have proposed and are on board with what we recommended. So with that, I will go back to my slide and then just continue with this item was held. A public hearing was held, with the Planning Commission on August 20th, and we did not receive any public comments for that meeting or during that meeting. The Planning Commission members voted 6-0 to forward a positive recommendation for approval to the City Council. I did want to go over real quickly the findings of fact that the Planning Commission reviewed and approved. The requested text amendment has been considered, and based on the characteristics of practical application and an oversight with those who have expertise in the field of apiary and beekeeping, and they are recommending this as well. The proposed text amendment is consistent with the purpose of our city land use code, and it is also consistent with the goals and policies of the Murray City General Plan. So lastly, the proposed text amendment will allow Murray City residents the ability to have apiaries along with their residential dwellings, and that will now be expanded to all to all properties that have a residential use located on them and not just residential zones. So our recommendation, both staff and the Planning Commission recommend that City Council approve the proposed text amendments to Title 17.65 Beekeeping as we have presented tonight. So if there's any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Okay, then let's continue on. Since it is a public hearing, we'll open it for public comments. Jan?
Yes, I have one public comment, and this is from Bill Strong, Murray resident. I am sending this email with regards to you considering changing the ordinance for beekeeping standards. The current ordinance says that you have to have a certain lot size in order to raise bees, so that if you raise bees, you will not encroach on your neighbor's property. It would be a very bad idea if you changed this part of the ordinance. So I am urging all of you to vote against modifying the lot size requirement for raising bees. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Jan. I will close the public hearing part of this and send it to the council for comments, questions, and eventually a motion. Are there any comments at this point? Any questions for Melinda?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I had asked Melinda about the change in lot size last time and did speak with one resident who was concerned, but with the information from the Department of Agriculture and deferring to the county, feel really confident that their regulations are prudent and adequately protect the health and safety of residents. But just to acknowledge that if you're not a huge fan of bees, any amount of feet closer can feel a lot closer. But I'm always in favor of going to the experts, and it sounds like the Department of Agriculture are experts here, and letting them take the work and the regulation on this seems like the right move. So thank you for all the research that your office did.
Yeah, if I might, Diane.
Sure.
I just want to make sure, we talked about this in committee of the whole. I want to make sure there's somebody on staff that can help citizens navigate both the county and the state if there is a problem, and somehow have that so people know who to go to. I believe we discussed that. Maybe it would be Jared last time, but sometimes when you go to a state website and try to find anything, by the time you get through, you're frustrated and you haven't found anything. So I just want to make sure that we have somebody in the city that can help citizens navigate that, both county and state.
Yeah, we'll make sure that all of our planning staff, Jared, Susan, and Zach, are all, and even our business licensing staff, that they're all familiar with the contacts of the state. One of the great things about this, Councilmember Cox, is that those who keep bees are very passionate and dedicated to that. And so it's a little unlike some other issues where it's easy to kind of go into those black holes, but we'll make sure that all of our staff here are aware of who the contacts are in the county and the state, and we'll be able to refer any citizens to them.
Any other questions for Melinda? Thanks, Dale. No other questions? Okay, then I would appreciate a motion. A motion, please.
I'll make a motion to, let's see, to approve an ordinance amending chapter 17.5 of the Murray City County Municipal Code related to beekeeping standards.
I will second that.
Great, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Okay, if there's no discussion, then Jennifer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hells,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, the last, the second of new business, our second issue is to consider. Oh no, I'm sorry. We're done with public hearings. Now we are at new business. So the first of new business is to consider approving Amendment 1 to an agreement between the city and Salt Lake County for the transfer of CARES Act funds to assist citizens and businesses in the containment of COVID-19 and to reduce the economic impact of the pandemic. Brenda Moore presenting.
So this resolution before you is to basically approve the agreement for the budget amendment that you just passed that would allow the mayor to execute and sign an agreement with Salt Lake County to receive the federal CARES money in the amount of $1.4 million, approximately. And it comes with the stipulations that we will spend it for authorized CARES activities, and that we have until November 1st to either commit or spend the money, and otherwise we will have to return it to the county. So that is what the agreement states. I think you had a full copy of the agreement. It was basically identical to the original agreement that was passed in July, except for they have extended the due date of when we can spend the money. So that's the resolution.
Thank you, Brenda. Are there questions from the council? No questions. Okay, thanks, Brenda, and I will send it to the council for a motion.
I will move we approve Amendment 1 to an agreement between the city and Salt Lake County to transfer the CARES Act funds to assist citizens and businesses in the containment of COVID-19 and to reduce the economic impact of the pandemic.
Do I
I'll
have a
second that.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
You bet.
Is there any discussion on the motion? No discussion? Jennifer, would you call the roll?
Mr. Hells,
Aye.
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Now we'll go to the second order of new business, which is to consider a resolution ratifying a list of judges to serve as temporary justice court judges for the Murray City Municipal Justice Court. GL Critchfield presenting. GL?
Thank you. This resolution, if passed, will create a list of 5 justice court judges who would fill in for our current justice court judge should he be ill or away from court for whatever reason. As I explained earlier, there's a finite amount of judges to select from, and these are those who, it's my understanding, have agreed that they would be able to make time to break away from what they're doing and come to Murray to sit for a day to spell Judge Thompson. I hope you can appreciate it. This is a practical way of approaching this because he can't always anticipate when he's not going to be there, and it would be impossible to bring you together to approve a judge each time that he was not going to be in court. So instead, we've created this list and are asking for your approval. That's the recommendation by staff. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Are there any questions for GL? Okay, we discussed this in the committee of the whole, and I think I think we got our questions answered, and I really appreciate that, GL. So I will send it to the council for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve a resolution ratifying a list of judges to serve as temporary justice court judges for the Murray City Municipal Justice Court, period.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? No discussion. Okay. Then Jennifer, would you call the roll?
Mr. House,
Aye.
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye. Okay. That takes us to the mayor's report. Mayor?
Okay, thank you. Our previous crew of 5 firefighters, as I mentioned in our council communication last Friday, have returned from fighting the wildfires in California after 3 weeks. But we have dispatched a new crew of 4 firefighters to take their place. And they're currently assigned to the Zogg fire, Z-O-G-G, and that's near Redding, California. They're projected to return somewhere around the 19th. That's obviously subject to change, but we did get good news that the Zogg fire is reported now to be about 80% contained. So we're looking forward to their safe return, and we always are concerned about our firefighters when they're working out of state. Secondly, this week is the virtual public power celebration. We want to encourage the public to visit the Murray Power Department's Facebook page. If you will visit the page and like the page, then they will be entered into a prize drawing. They can win things like a Nest thermostat or a Lowe's gift card or some things like that. It's a fun way to celebrate public power during the COVID. It doesn't make up for the footlong hot dogs, I know, but it's the best that they can do in the situation. I think it's actually a very fun idea. So we encourage the public to visit that. I wanted to mention that the food truck night at Murray Park has ended for the season, but the Food Truck League has conveyed that their nights in Murray were very successful, despite the altered COVID version that we experienced this year. And I wanted to take just a minute and share a couple of the comments that we got from the Food Truck League. They reported that the trucks sold an average of around 770 to 100 meals each week per truck, which is really great. The trucks loved coming to Murray Park. They said that they had a very low turnover, with most of the food trucks wanting to come back. They felt an extremely strong community response measured by online engagement and on-site feedback to the trucks. They also said that Murray ranks in their top tier of locations, so they're definitely planning on coming back next year. They concluded with saying that Murray was a wonderful success and that was well received by the community, even with the altered COVID version this year. And we are excited to continue to improve the experience for the community by bringing in additional food truck variety and build on the community watering hole vibe. I thought that was interesting, a way to put that. They called it the community watering hole vibe. So they very much enjoyed being at Murray Park. So we can look forward to that again next year. Our farmers market is in Murray Park and will continue through October 24th. It is held on Fridays and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. I also wanted to just mention this evening that as far as COVID-19 goes, our city facilities continue to follow the guidelines for yellow, the yellow level of restriction. In addition, we have the face covering requirement from the county health department, which we are adhering to in our public buildings. Employees are having their temperatures taken when they report to work each day. We recently had 2 more positive tests among our city employees, but contact tracing was not required in either case because it was determined that exposure was not at work. And we have actually been very fortunate. We've had few cases and only one very serious case among our city employees. Also, our customer service division continues to work very hard in the implementation of the Tyler Munis utility billing software. We are aware of the problems, the glitches, and the challenges, and our customer service representatives are fielding a lot of questions from the public every day, and they're working out these issues. And we ask the public for patience as we address these issues, and just remind everyone that harsh words and unkind emails are not helpful. So we appreciate the work that's being done there. Finally, and ending on a sad note, I'm sad to note that after over 50 years in Murray, the R.C. Willey's store will be closing. The Murray store sometime around the first of the year, just after the first of the year. We had heard that on last Thursday, and it was confirmed today. So we're very sad to see them go. They've been a great part of our community and a great, frankly, a great source of tax revenue for us too. So we will be working. We've already been in contact with a realtor who will be working on that site, and we'll be looking to do something to replace that. It's about, if I remember right, it's close to 9 acres of property there. So, and that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Are there any questions from the council? Okay.
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Sure.
Mayor, did they say it was due to the COVID situation, or they didn't? No remarks on that.
I don't have any information on that, Brad. I don't have any further information.
Okay. If there are no questions or further comments, then we are adjourned. Thank you, council.